viewers. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. I welcome you all to my presentation today. So the topic here I have for you is something very interesting, at the same time, something which is very significant. So if at all you want to communicate in English, there are some wheels you have to operate on. So these wheels are very important if you have to travel anywhere. So what kind of wheels I'm talking about? So it could be like mechanical wheels, or could be wheels of language, or could be any sort of. And now the task for you is to find out which type of wheels or what is that mode of transportation I'm talking about. So you commute anywhere. So you travel or you journey to any place, whatever place like you want to reach, and that point of destination. At that point of destination, you will have to use some mode of transport. So you need that particular transport to reach. So these vehicles are very important. The vehicles you are using will help you arrive at your destination. In the same way, in your language also, whatever language you're speaking, these wheels or these grammatical senses or grammatical particles or grammatical concepts will help you or will act as wheels. And especially these prepositions are very important. So I'm here with you today to speak and help you understand the concept of preposition and help you reach your destination, that is your message or conveying or whatever, like the transmission of your message. I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. Thank you so much for opening your ears to my presentation. Right. So now you will have to understand definition first. So whatever concept you are getting exposed to, you will have to understand the essence of it, and prior to that, you will have to also understand the meaning, overall sense of it. So, and if you can understand the definition for your kind of like a comprehension, or before you understand anything, before you understand any subject, it is always good to have this kind of definition in your mind. So it's a kind of glue, right? Prepositions act as a kind of glue where it will stick all the parts of or like disconnected chunks of language into a wholesome sentences or wholesome message. So these are nothing but they will act as wheels for your communication. Right. Now, to define them, I would say that it's a word usually placed before a noun or a pronoun to show place, time, cause, purpose, and or means. That means prepositions, as I've already mentioned before, as I've already brought to your notice, that these will act as a glue. You know the glue, right? So that will stick, that will help you stick to each other. So they will combine or they will attach the fragmented parts of words or any kind of ideas into one thread. So the all disconnected threads are connected into one whole single thread. So that is what I'm trying to say. In the same way, the same tone, prepositions also act in the same manner. You know, these are minute particles and these are two-letter words sometimes. And sometimes these are compound words also, like they have different structures, but they act as very important part of jointed sentence or joined kind of like combination or combined of different senses, or no, these are mutually like fixed, in the sense like in case you eliminate them and you find it very disconnected, you find it meaningless, you find it senseless. So that is why, though these are two-letter words, but still they will show the entire place, time, and kind of purpose or kind of reason or kind of like whatever it is, like cause behind every idea. So I now say that it is usually placed before a noun, and it is not always compulsory that it is placed before a noun. What is a noun? A noun is nothing but it talks about some place. So you name it, right? You name it, the function of it, something. So that is nothing like could be proper name. Like you have so many places, right? You have so many names for anything. So any kind of place or like kind of things, objects, or whatever it is, they all act as nouns. And now this preposition, nouns, prepositions, adjectives, adverbs, kind of conjunctions, interjection, and all these parts of speech are very important vehicles of communication. So you eliminate one, you cannot see. For example, try to eliminate he, there in the sentence that is displayed on the screen. So you eliminate one and you don't find any sense, or either you have to replace it with a noun or you have to replace it with a pronoun. Or if both are not there, then there is no subject that will exist there. So only with pronouns, only with the nouns, you will be able to kind of like bring the subject that you are trying to drive in. So that is very, very important, right? So the example I have for you is, he lives in Delhi. So he lives in Delhi. Pronoun is active, is used. He lives, verb, in Delhi. The one which is highlighted in red color is a preposition. So now it is a will here in that particular sentence. So Delhi is again the name of some place, and so like you want to convey that he lives Delhi, for example, and you omit in, and then he lives Delhi means what is the sense? He lives Delhi. So there is no sense there where he lives on Delhi or into Delhi. So the meaning is spoiled there. So the sense is not conveyed if you use these inappropriate prepositions like into, on Delhi, you don't say generally, right? So on work or on commitment or on some mission, you are there. But then generally you don't use on another preposition when you use these proper nouns, right? So that is the reason you have to pick and choose, select prepositions very carefully, right? So that is why he lives in Delhi is an example for you to use as a preposition. I will explain you very clearly in the later slides how you can use these prepositions in, at, on, and so on and so forth. Right, next. I will meet you at 6 p.m. So I will meet you at will act as a preposition here, and omit at here and try to understand the sentence. I will meet you 6 p.m. So I will meet you 6 p.m. So meet will be like joined with 6 p.m. No, I will meet you 6 p.m. So there is in some sense is lost there. So that is the reason you have to use this wheel of preposition. That is, he will meet you at so and so time. Otherwise, you do not know whether it is like he will meet you into 6 p.m. and again the meaning is wrong there. So you have to use at, and this is the key. So at is a specific pointer. At will talk about or it will define the specific point of time. Right. Move on to the other slide. Prepositions, they generally precede the noun they are referring to. Prepositions generally precede the noun they are referring to. So that means they come before. So if they succeed means they come after. But generally they don't succeed. In most cases at least. So they precede before the nouns they are referring to. And it is not or necessarily need not be any case. So not for definite sure, but mostly in some cases. So indeed sometimes they come at the end of a sentence. So we will have many examples for you so that you get enough clarity. For then, like my dear viewers or my dear students, whoever are you, I want you to be aware of all these terminology. Like you need to know what is a clause, you need to know what is a relative clause. So you need to understand what a sentence is, and you need to understand what is a preposition. And now in this session, I will help you with these prepositions so that you can be very much confident in using these prepositions. Next, now, kinds of prepositions. So that means types, varieties of prepositions. You understood? Preposition will come before a noun and they will denote particular place, time, purpose, reason, and then you understand the cause of it, right? So when, how, why, and so these are bridged together, or these are clubbed together by the use of prepositions. And now, having understood the concept or the definition of prepositions, I now want to make you understand, or I now want to help you to comprehend types of prepositions. My dear students and learners, you have to understand that knowing the varieties of prepositions will help you understand to choose these varieties. Either it is simple or complex or kind of like compound, whatsoever, you'll be able to understand. Now, the first type or kind is simple prepositions. So now, what are these simple prepositions? These simple prepositions are of only one word. One word. That means do you remember in the previous slide we talked, he lives in Delhi, right? Here in this sentence, we saw to that we used single word prepositions. That means he lives in Delhi is a single line preposition. So this is called simple one word preposition, right? Now, at also is same, right? Like he'll meet you at so and so time. So that is again a single word preposition. He'll meet you at, and he comes on something, right? Like he tries to work on something. He tries to focus on something. And all these are like this. So in, at, on, for, so many other, etc. Right? So these are four. I have so much love and concern for you. So that is like, again, we will discuss all these things in detail. So to cut short my words, I would say that it is all about single word. In, on, for are nothing but simple prepositions. Next, complex or compound prepositions. So that means more than one word. Simple is one word preposition, and more than one you can understand. That is a compound or like a complex prepositions. They are in front of, due to, owing to, instead of. See, these are two word prepositions. In front of, due to, owing to, instead of. So these are two words prepositions. So in front of someone, due to this reason, owing to your hospitality, or owing to your debt, or related to that, instead of your arrival, or instead of your performance. Like you can use all these prepositions, like owing to someone's gratitude, or that means due to, again the same reason, right? The meaning. So these are all compound or complex prepositions. Next, some more simple prepositions, examples for you. Like these are all about, right? About, along, above, across, after, against, along, amid, amidst, amongst, around, as, at, behind, below, beneath, beside, and besides. Both are different, beside and besides. So these are all, like he's on board, right? It's about, right? About the qualification. So you use all these simple one-word prepositions in your communication. After you come here, I would like to go across this bridge. You find a hotel there. And against someone's view, you always give your defense. Or along with your arrival, or along with your friend, I'd like to reach there. Or it's like, amongst many, or amidst someone, someone's presentation in the middle of, right? So you can use all this, like behind, below, beneath, under, like beside, besides, all these. Now let's move on to another slide. Some more examples, so that I do not want you to limit your knowledge to knowing only a few prepositions. So in addition to that, you also have simple prepositions like between. These are all one word, like beyond, but, despite, by, down, during, from, in, like, unlike, near, notwithstanding, off, on, upon, opposite, over, past. So you can use all these prepositions like between these two girls. There's a very good, serious competition. And also beyond this, his strength, or but, in times of trouble, or despite her condition, she came to the class. Like down, like, she's down with fever. During summer holidays, I would like to arrive at a particular place. From this place, from Delhi to Hyderabad, there is always there's always a point, meeting point, or from this place to that place you can come and take your place. Like in doing that, or he lives in particular place. So there's a distinction between in and that, and you have to understand how to use these two, right? Unlike someone's participation, this girl's work is very good, or participation is very good. That is not similar to, or like is similar to. Near, right? Notwithstanding, not be able to tolerate or bear, right? So these are all single word or simple prepositions. Of and off, these are two different. Like, of one is like, something it belongs to, and off is something that you remove and get rid of. On and upon, like, again, this have a very subtle distinction between, like, they will try to make you on doing something, right? Like upon his arrival, we say, right? Like, so there's some distinction, and in my later slides I will explain you in detail. So these are a few more examples. And some more examples for this simple prepositions are per, with, throughout, till, without, before, inside, towards, since, than, through, underneath, within. These are all again simple prepositions for you. And not only that, which all we have discussed earlier are simple prepositions, but also these are another set. Again, you can make use of all these prepositions and make and connect n number of sentences and n number of ideas by using these ways. Now, till now we talked about simple prepositions. I now want you to understand, or I now want you to have glimpses into compound prepositions. So we talked about simple prepositions. So compound, more than one word. So in English, you have more than two words, like sometimes more than two or more than one word, like as to, on to, according to, along with, away from. See, two words. Because of, but, for her, by means of this travel or mode of transport, or by reason of this edition, by way of reaching them, or by virtue of doing something, or in the light of facts. See, these are all compound prepositions. These are more than two and three, and you can use all this. And once we discuss some more prepositions, we will come back to these prepositions and try to make sentence and use them in context. Some more compound prepositions. With regard to, that means with regard to, pertaining to or belonging to. With regard to. As for her mindset. Out of that danger. She's out of. Again, see some more compound prepositions. In front of something. Like due to that reason. for the sake of, that means for the benefit of, or for someone's good, in favor of, in support of, that means in search of something, in searching, looking for, in the event of, that means on the occasion, in view of, from this perspective, with reference to, that means with that, kind of like with this reference, in the sense like with this kind of evidence or with this kind of point, with reference to something. So we are referring to some other source, cross-checking something. In addition to, add on, in accordance with that law, like, according to that law. So these are some more compound prepositions you can use in your sentences for conveying and for reaching your target. Next, compound prepositions. Some more examples. Till now we've seen, and there are so many, and I cannot bring all those things to your notice now, but a few can be driven or a few can be brought here. So like these are some more in course of time, so over a period of time, in order to do something. So for doing that, on behalf of is also another compound preposition. On behalf of someone, on behalf of my friend, I'm here to do her duty. Together with. That means like something that we are able to do it, like with a view to, with respect to. Okay, with that kind of view, with that kind of perspective, with respect to someone, like having that kind of honor and respect to someone. Right? These are. And now we will look into some more prepositions. So by looking at these prepositions, you can understand how you can use them. So we will take a single word, each word. We are not going to cover almost like we are not going to speak prepositions in general. We have understood definition till now. We have understood the kinds of prepositions, and now we also saw what are simple prepositions. Also, we also saw what are compound prepositions. And now we are taking each prepositions, at least a few very important ones. And then now we are trying to look at the sense of something. And we are trying to look into the meaning and how you can use those prepositions in sentence or in context. Right? Across. Across means on the other side of something. For example, across the bridge we say, right? Across means like on the other side of something. So that is why example, for instance, I have for you is a college is across the main road. It is on the other side of the main road. So remember, across means on the other side. Next, and I have put up more than 2-3 meanings or 2-3 contexts, situations where the same word can be used differently sometimes and sometimes the same. So sometimes on the other side, see the meaning in one sense you can understand, the meaning is across means on the other side. And another sense, moving from one side to the other side of something, like moving from this, like, movement, right? Moving from this place to the other side. That means this boat will carry you across the river. That means this boat will take you from one side to the other. The other one is only like on the other side of something. So these are 2-3 different ways you can use. And the third one is extending from one side to the other side. So the third one is extending. That means like, it's something that has been started at one point and that's been extended. So example is there's a rainbow across the mountains. There's a rainbow across the mountains. So it spreads. Okay, so that means it extended. So that is the meaning. So you have seen that across can be used saying that on the other side, and then second one is moving from this way to the other side. And the third meaning sense you can use in way like you can use like extending from one side to the other side. Now let me take another preposition, right? At. This is very pivotal, I would say. In, at, on, to, for. These are very tiny particles or tiny prepositions or words, but then if you don't use them, you are you cannot convey your sense, and the entire purpose is lost. That is why these are very integral, and these are like, linchpin, a linchpin of any sense. So that is why you have to understand how to use, and very quickly, whether to use in or at, to or for, in or on. So we have to understand the significance and the distinction and the meaning of all these one word prepositions. Now, at will talk about what? What is, or how do you use at? It talks about definite point in space. It is related to place you are talking about, and a definite point in space. That means particular place. If you want to refer to, you can use these small particles like, and this preposition is at. Now, she's at home. You are specifically pointing out that she's at that particular place. He is at the cinema. He's at the cinema. That means the point is the particular place. So you're not talking about around or somewhere, but you are talking a definite, that means for sure certain point of space, right? So that is the sense of it. So he's at the cinema. Next, place of learning or work of worship. What is another way? What is another sense where you can use that? One is place, and the other one is place of learning or work or worship, related to work or learning or worship place. So you can say she's at the temple of that particular place, or she's at temple, or she's at Oxford, any place of learning. You can use this preposition at. Next, they are at office. Generally, when you refer to your workplace, you can use this preposition at. She's at work. Where is your mother? She's at work. Oh, where are you? Where is she now? Oh, she's at her church. Place of worship, place of work, or place of learning, anything. But you have to remember that in American English, in is usually used instead of at. With a place of learning, right? With regard to place of learning, generally we saw to that earlier, she's at Oxford in British English. But in American English, your in is used. So by understanding this kind of difference or this kind of usage, you will be able to understand to the foreigners who hail from America. So when they use in, you will not have any problem. Or you can also very comfortably use this preposition in with regard, when you are using with regard to the place of learning. They are in school. Right? They are in school. That means like generally in school. She's in Oxford. So American English. Now, continuing with at, what is another sense? You use at when you are talking about direction. When you are talking about direction, that means towards direction. He's gazing at the sky. So direction. So that means one is something where you see like point of time, point of place, point of learning, a place of learning, place of work, place of worship, place of some kind of like learning center. And also in another sense, now we are seeing that at can be used when you are referring to some direction. So I'm looking at the sky. He's gazing at the sky. And another sense, another example I have for you is, he rushed at the enemy, towards the enemy. That is the sense. This is talking about pointed direction. Next, but in British English, in means inside a building. Okay, so sometimes like you've seen, right? In means place of learning in American context, but in British it means inside. Right, we'll continue with at. And what is another sense? One is like direction, and another sense where you can use at is reaction. When you're talking about any reaction, you use I'm delighted at your success. I'm delighted at your success. So this is the sense. And then that means like I'm very happy about it. So that is my reaction. I'm delighted at what? So what am I really, reacting to? At her something. So when I bring out my reaction, so I say that I'm delighted at your success, or I'm very sad at your failure, like that. Another example is like, I was alarmed at the news. I was alarmed at the news. Right? So shocked, surprised, a kind of mixed emotions. We were amused at his funny stories. We were amused at his funny stories. That means we got enthralled by listening to them. Or, we got surprised and kind of like shocking and surprising feeling. Right? So we were amused at his funny stories. So when you are talking or when you want to express your emotion, reaction, you can use this at. Next, and also you can use this at when it is something which is very standard, that is something which is very norm. If it is a norm, that means standard rule. That means that happens all the time, or it is for sure. You can use this at. Example, he's a genius at chess. He's a genius at chess. That means always, and most probably he's like that. That means like he's good at doing it. She's hopeless at tennis. He's clever at cards. So that is something which is very standard. You can use this at when you're expressing this meaning. Also, when you refer to measurements, right? Measurements, when you use this price related or rate related, you can use this preposition at. That, for example, bananas are sold at 10 rupees a dozen. So when you're referring to measurement, you can use this preposition at or related to price or rate. And then the train is running at 80 kilometers per hour. The train is running at 80 kilometers. So when you rate at the rate which it goes, or the price at which it is sold, you can use this, both price and rate. This related to measurement, this preposition at can be used. Next, state. Like when you're referring to this condition or any condition, you can refer to this particular condition by using this preposition at. We've been talking about at only, the use of at, right? When you are referring to somebody's state, when you are referring to somebody's condition, you are aiming at that particular thing, and you are referring to somebody's situation there. So you can use this at preposition. Example, they're at play now. That means they're at condition. What's that state? At play. They're playing. He's at work now. What's his state? He's working in a working mode. So you say he's at work now. She's at learning, or she's at doing some work. She's at writing. So when you talk about or when you refer to their condition, or when you refer to their workplace, you can use this at. Next, note, at indicates a temporary activity. Sometimes you have to understand that they are at play now. He's at work now. This is not permanent. They won't be permanently situated there, or they won't be permanently present there. So that is very temporary. So, and at indicates a temporary or temporal activity. Now, when you talk about in indicates a permanent condition, occupation, right? At indicates a temporary activity. In indicates a permanent occupation. He's in the army now. That means he's going to work as an army officer as long as he's alive, right? He indicates, it talks about permanent position. Also, when do you use at? For example, you use at when you are referring to age. When you are referring to age, you can use this at. At 90, Sridhar is hale and hearty. At 90, you are referring to his age. At 90, when you want to use at 40, at 30, at 12, or 5. Like you can use it, this preposition at, when you are referring to age also. Sridhar is hale and hearty. That means healthy. That means like he's very agile and he's very in good condition, right? Healthy. Noam Chomsky became famous at. See, you are using age and you are referring to it by using this preposition at 27. He became famous at the age of 27. That is the sense of it. So till now we have seen that we can use at when we are referring to workplaces, temporary, permanent, and also when we are trying to use our reactions. So we can explain using these prepositions as our reactions. And now we are seeing age, like related to age, we can use this preposition at. Also, this is very important. Very often we use that in our day-to-day vocabulary or day-to-day sense or language or like any time, right? So when we are referring to somebody's, referring to point of time. So especially at so and so particular time. So in that particular case, you can use at plus at 7, at 5, at 4. See, point of time, you can use at. But you don't use the definite article. At the, you don't use. You use at dawn or, at dawn or night, at night, at daytime you use, right? So, but you don't say at afternoon or at evening. You use in when you are referring to that. So the plane lands at 7 o'clock. So you are referring to some point of time. You can use this at, right? So he left for France at night. You don't use the definite article. He left for France at the night. So generally, the definite article is omitted in this case. So when you use at with point of time, you can eliminate or omit the use of the definite article. Simply say, he left for France at 5 o'clock at night today. That's all. So simple as it is. Next. Whereas in, till now we talked about at, and now there is some exception. In is used with morning, evening or afternoon preceded by the. Right? We saw at point of time. And now we can use in, not at morning, but we can use in the morning. And the definite article is used here in the morning. But at the 7 o'clock you don't say. At 7 o'clock or at 5 o'clock. But here when you are referring to morning or afternoon or evening, you can use in precedes this before. In precedes this one, like before afternoon or evening. That means in the evening, in the morning, right? So like that. And the definite article the is used. See, for example, in the evening we will visit the zoo. In the evening we will visit the zoo. Not in evening. In the evening. You have to make sure that you don't omit the definite article when you use this. The. In. Next. We've understood these prepositions, right? And for a change, I want you to understand about this prepositional phrase. And then we will proceed on with some more important prepositions. Because like very often we meet or we come across some prepositional phrases. These are nothing but prepositions made, are in use of some phrases, right? So that consists of a preposition and its object, which will be either a noun or a pronoun, right? Let me give you, right, some more sense. Like prepositional phrases consist of a preposition and the word which follow it. So preposition either complement, that means the object that is being talked about. So preposition and this complement. And so that is commonly used. For example, you can look at these sentences. See, they first met at a party, right? So these prepositions are used in phrases. So that is why they are called prepositional phrases. And these phrases could be a noun phrase, verb phrase, or it could be an adverb phrase. So these can be combined, prepositions can be combined with phrases. They first met at a party. That means at is preposition. And what is a noun phrase? At a party. Party is a noun phrase. So at a party will be a prepositional phrase. Right? She was taken ill. The second sentence I'm talking about. She was taken ill during the film. During is a preposition and the film is a noun phrase. So this can be used along with a noun phrase. She was taken during the film is something like prepositional phrase. Third example. Would like Would you like to come with me? Please. Come with is a preposition and me is a pronoun. So here preposition is combined with a pronoun. Would you like to come with me? Please. That is the sense. Next, from there, fourth condition. From there, I'll take you about half an hour to our house. From there, I'll take you about half an hour. Like from there, like from is a preposition and there is an adverb, right? From there. So, and also the next sentence, until quite recently. Until is a preposition. Quite recently. So, adverb phrase. Preposition is combined with adverb phrase. These are some examples of prepositional phrases. And now, noun phrase. How prepositions will go with noun phrases? Okay, now what is the meaning of this noun phrase? A word or group of words containing a noun, they will function as subject, object or prepositional object. For example, see, group of words, they will act as subject or object or prepositional phrase. Example, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dogs. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. These is here you can see fox jumped over, right? So here this will the quick brown. Here this subject is about the quick brown fox. And these will act as subject, object, and preposition. So, for example, you don't have to use separately. That is here the noun phrase is the subject of the sentence. What? The quick brown fox is the subject here. So that means it is about, the sentence is all about this quick brown fox. So instead of saying just fox, you can use. So the rest of the noun phrase works to describe about this. That is the sense of it. Now, let me take you through another preposition, beside. Right? Beside means next to, by the side of. He's sitting beside his next to brother. The hut is beside the river, next to. That is the sense. Also, you can use beside when you are trying to compare, in comparison with. That is another sense. One sense is next to, another sense is like in comparison with. For example, beside your earlier performance, this is a vast improvement. This is a vast improvement. Beside, that means in comparison. Here I'm comparing. So that is a sense. Your argument is beside the point is another third sense. That means not relevant. One sense where you can use beside is next to, another sense is when you are comparing in comparison with, and the third sense is when it is not relevant. Your argument is beside the point. That is a sense. And at the same time, do not get confused with another prepositions. Besides. Besides means in addition to. In addition to. That means like there are 9 students here besides that, in addition to. That is the meaning, not next to. We cannot go, we have no torches. Besides, it's raining. So in addition, that is the sense of it. And now look at this preposition by. What is this preposition by means? Means of travel or transport. Means of travel or through by. I'm going to so and so Hyderabad by bus. Srinagar by bus. Mode of transport. Okay, that is one sense. Second one is when you can use by as when you are referring to it as to a person as an agent or a doer, somebody who does action. Example, Adonis is a poem written by Shelley. Adonis is a poem by doer of some action. Also, Shakuntala was written by Kalidasa. So you can, when you are using that, you can use somebody's somebody wrote something, an agent or doer of something. You can use by. Energy, power, natural phenomenon as an agent. Okay. So next, in the 18th century, the streets of London were lighted. So some action, agent as an agent. You can use this preposition. Part of, when you are referring to part of one's body, you can use this by. Like I seized him, caught him by the collar. She caught her by the hair. So we are referring to parts of one body. Next, when you are referring to means of doing something, she earns a lot by singing. Means of doing. She does it by means of. He amuses himself by drawing cartoons. Right? So when you can use this preposition by. And also in another sense, you can use preposition. What is that? When you are referring to mode of payment. Example, he gets his salary by check. by check, mode of payment. So that is a mode you are using. But note, exception is we make payment in cash, not by cash. But he receives salary by check, but in cash or kind. You have to remember that. Referring to unit of measurement also you can use by. That is, we buy bananas by the dozen, referring to measurement. They're paid by wages by the week. Okay, we buy butter by the pound when you're using unit of measurement. We buy butter by the pound. And also when you are referring to the result, the payment was made by mistake. Okay, result as a result. We can achieve great success by willpower. You can use this. We won the match by, when you're talking about this extent of something you won. That, okay, so they won the match by 7 runs. And you're referring to profession, right? When you are referring to somebody's profession. So how is she now? How is she earning? Like, she lives by her pen. That means she writes. She's a writer. She lives by something, pen. And also when you are referring to accompaniment, okay, when you are accompanied, like she was accompanied on the guitar by, Eric, right? So she was 4 divided by 2, 5 multiplied by 3 equals 15. That is the sense you can use. And also when you are referring to dimensions or size, okay, you can use this preposition by. Like, this room is 10 feet by 20. These are a few examples. He got a promotion by the back door. We went to Srinagar by the tunnel. Right? Also you can use by when you are referring to according to. It is just 9 by my watch. According to my watch, it is just 9. You can refer to this sense by using these prepositions. She came and sat by her husband. At the when you are referring to, another sense is not only according to is a sense. You can also use this by when you are referring to next to. Okay, so that is like. Also, there is one more sense context where you can use with respect to someone. With respect to someone, she's an Indian by birth. She's an Italian by marriage. Okay, so he can finish his work by time. When you're referring to within that time, I may finish that. You can use this sense. And by and in or on. So you can buy, as we have already discussed, means of travel or transport, right? When you are referring to means of travel or transport, you can use this. We travel by car. We don't say in car, right? And when we use in, when we are referring to our own, like for example, like it is modified by article or adjective clause. For example, she came in her own car. That you don't say by in her own car. We say we set out in a small boat. Adjective is used. So in that context, you use in. On is used. Now let us talk about this preposition on. We use on instead of in with a bicycle. Some vehicles. He goes to school on cycle. Right? So by plus noun is always singular, my dears. That is why they came by car, bus, boat, not cars or buses. But here you can say he came in a big bus. So he came by car, but he came in a adjective is used. So that modified, when it is modified by any adjective or adverb, you can use in. They came in several big buses. These are a few examples. On is used with a large public vehicle as a means of travel. They are now on the plane to Japan. As public vehicle, you can use on. And another important preposition is whole period of time. Right? When you are referring to during is something very important preposition. Is very important preposition. During whole period of time. I stayed in some place during this month. Okay. Okay. Also, you can use when you are referring to a particular time mentioned. During his career, he acted as the director. Robbers broke into her house during the small hours. That means wee hours, late, early morning hours. Okay. And another preposition where you can use is for. This is very important preposition. You use for purpose. Okay. This is a surprise gift for you. Okay. Somebody purpose. Beneficiary you are referring to. He bought a gold ring for her. And also you can use for when you are talking about function. What is this gadget for? it's a machine for washing. You can use for when you're referring to destination. This is a train for Delhi. I bought this saree for 100 rupees or 700 rupees. When you can use for when you are talking about choice, preference, or liking. Example, she has a taste for classical music. She has a liking for tasty dishes. You can see that on the screen. Next, you can also use for when you're talking about cause, because, like they are dancing for what? Joy. Kerala is famous for what? Its hospitality. So also you can talk about concession by using this for. Like, for all his wealth, he is not happy. For all her qualifications, Rajini fared poorly at interview. Fared means performed. You can use for when you are talking about this representative or abbreviation. Like he's speaking for his country, like that. Okay, and then but then like when you are she walks for, right, 2 kilometers every day, you can say. But then when you are denoting a specific distance, you usually omit. That means she walks 2 miles every day. Okay, so particularly when you use it, for example, when you are very particular about some miles, she walks 2 miles. She walks for some distance, you can say, and when certain number is mentioned, you omit for. When you refer to time, you can use this, I will be with you for an hour, and these are the examples. Would you wait a minute, please? Not for. And there's particular time mentioned, you can say, would you wait a minute? Like that. The meeting lasted 3 hours. Not for 3 hours. Because specific time. Denoting a specific or definite period of time is mentioned, then for is usually omitted. That means like she waited a minute. Meeting lasted 5 hours. So these are all examples. She's lived here for 20 years. And also, like, for is not omitted when you are referring to hours, days, weeks, months, years. Right? So, these are a few. And for example, like for and since, again, these are very confusing. And these are used with perfect tenses. Like, for example, she's lived in India for 10 years. So, has lived, perfect tense is used, and you can use this for. She's lived in India for 10 years. I've been here for half an hour since 5 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So continuous tense, progressive, perfect progressive also, you can use for. She's been living in India for 10 years. She's been living in Belgaum 1980 since. All these can be used. You have a look at this examples. Right. So for is used with a simple past tense when it indicates that an action began in the past and it is still terminated. So in the next class, definitely we will continue to discuss this for and since in detail. These are a few examples I have for you. So my dear learners, hope this session has certainly benefited you, and I now feel that you will be able to use your prepositions properly in order to run your mode of kind of like mode of journey, or what sort of journey you're on. So definitely you can use these vehicles or use these wheels as your definitely important mode of transport, right? So I now request you to remember all that and then make use of all these prepositions for your communication, especially for your effective communication. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.